right, we'll open it up to your questions.
Fran, in the first half, you guys looked like you'd played two rough games on the road, tough games on the road, and then the second half just kind of got in the flow of things. What kind of helped?
I thought we played great in the first half. I really did, with the exception of the fact that we gave up 8 offensive rebounds. You know, they did miss 9 threes, and they got some of the long ones, but I thought offensively we were terrific in the first half. Defensively, we had a few breakdowns, we gave up some seconds, but I thought we were great in both halves.
How do you
gone any better for Devin to get a breakaway dunk to get started, maybe get his motor running?
Yeah, and then he hits a wide open 3. You know, and the key for him, like we said, is just shoot open shots, play your game, mix it, jumpers, drives, pull-ups, plays for other people. I mean, he was spectacular. There's no question about it.
Coach, he showed when he is on and they have to guard him how open other guys are.
Changes everything for us. Yeah, it changes our running game. It changes our half-court offense. They really have to pay attention to him. He's such a weapon because he can do so many different things, and that's what he's going to be for the rest of the year. There's no doubt in my mind.
You mentioned the 8 offensive rebounds they got in the first half. How do you feel your team is able to respond considering they out-rebounded Northwestern at the end?
Well, you know, in the second half he went small. You know, Swapshire got hurt, you know, in his defense, and Ola got hurt. So he was, you know, and then he was trying to make threes late, drive and kick and shoot threes. So we had a bigger team. The other thing is he went 1-3-1 a lot in the second half, which allows us to have 3 bigs on the baseline against our point guard. And we got a ton of seconds, you know, out of that because we weren't attacking it as well as we did the last time we played them, but we got seconds and finished that.
What happened to Devin's game, and how did you not lose him, or was that even not a possibility?
That wasn't even, you know what, Mike? It wasn't even an issue with him. He never lost his confidence in himself. And like I said the other night, I thought against Wisconsin he was so aggressive. I told him, just keep being aggressive. Play the game with reckless abandon. Now he goes 1 for 10, so he feels awful. And it gets highlighted again. We lose in double overtime. Marvel's 1 for 10. It wasn't his fault we lost that game. I mean, he missed some shots, but he was attacking the rim. In practice, he has not let up 1 possession for us. See, when I get nervous is when I have a guy struggling who pouts in practice and he doesn't give effort in practice and he's blaming his teammates, he's blaming the coaching staff. Dev never blamed anybody. He just kept working. And I've told you guys before, he's got phenomenal character. When you have character, you're going to play through this kind of stuff.
You must be pretty proud, though. I mean, to go through what they've gone through on the road and come back and play hard, probably tired legs, and yet, and especially in the second half, to really break away.
Well, the other thing, too, though, Scott, is I think one of the things that really helps us is we have depth. And we have as much depth as anybody. I mean, Billy doesn't have that kind of depth right now. He's got guys hurt. So we were able to keep the pressure on at half court and then keep running and then rotate fresh bodies. And if you don't have fresh bodies on the floor, you can't guard that offense. If you keep 5 guys out there and try to guard that for 40 minutes, I mean, it's an absolute nightmare.
What extra dimension does Oglesby give you when he's hitting a couple of those trays, too?
Well, I thought Josh had a tremendous game. He had some shots, and I think that's what everybody looks at when they look at him. Defensively, he might have been our most solid defender. If you break the film down, it's one of the reasons why I stayed with him, because there was times when I felt like I need to get him out. He's been in there a long time, might be a little tired, but defensively he was spectacular. He also is a tremendous passer. I mean, he made a couple great feeds. He doesn't make mistakes. Makes his free throws. I mean, he was great tonight, I thought.
Basabi came in, you guys were down 4, came in, had a couple shots, had a jumper on the baseline and then a dunk. Seemed to really, he was 4 for 4 tonight.
He's really played with a great deal of energy recently. He felt terrible because he got beat on the 1 back cut, and it was the only time really in the game. And but I mean his buckets seemed to come in very timely situations, I thought.
The trap out front seemed to give you some trouble there in the second half. What did you guys figure out?
We got a little tentative against it. We quick shot it a couple times. Got a couple deflections, but when it was all said and done, we attacked it pretty good.
It's the 3rd or 4th game in a row where your leading scorer, it was Aaron this game for the season, has struggled, but yet you've either been right in it or won the game. Is that a tribute to your depth as much as anything?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's been that way all year for us, like you said. I mean, you know, obviously, it'd be nice if our 2 leading scorers, you know, were getting 15 or 20 every night, but we haven't had that kind of team this year, you know, and there's been different lineups on the floor. I mean, I thought Olashaney was terrific tonight. Eric May was great when he was in there. Oglesby was terrific. Kasabi, Woodbury. I mean, and every time I put somebody in, they were fresh. fresh legs, fresh wind. We're good.
Were you curious at all how your team would respond coming off the 2 losses you had, even though they were at home?
I knew we'd play hard. I knew we'd play well. I mean, I wasn't worried about letdowns, all that crap. I wasn't worried about that.
This team hasn't really had a letdown at all this
No.
year, despite tough losses. I mean,
Yeah, they just keep coming. I think, if you look at the individual makeup of each player, Mike's he's not wired that way. Marble's not wired that way. Either's Clemens, either's Woodbury. I mean, those guys, they just keep coming. Woodbury, Zach hits a huge 3 when we really needed a bucket. And I thought it was great. So, this is something I don't worry about with this group.
you've had to play 4 games in 10 days. I mean, it's tough grind for somebody, especially because they just got back into school. Do you feel like now, even though you got a few days off before your next game?
They got a day off tomorrow with no practice, nothing. I don't know that we've ever had a time where I felt like, boy, they really need a day off. And we're actually going to give them off Monday, too, because last week we didn't give a day off at all. Now we got to give them 2 days off this week.
Coach, you mentioned when Ola and Sofshire went out, you had a significantly bigger team. How do you feel that really helped you guys on the stretch?
Well, we got some second shots when we needed it, and the rebounding numbers shifted, across the board. Now you got some issues at the other end when they're running all that dribble handoff stuff with guys that are drivers and 3-point shooters. So you're a little bit nervous with, are we going to be able to get up on the 3-point shooters in those situations? Abrahamson got the one out of the corner when they drove and drew 3 of us, but overall I think it benefited us.
So you talked about getting
15 wins. Is that a pretty good report for what this team has been through?
Yeah, Brooksy. But I don't. To me, it's the journey. I'm not looking at where we are today. I'm looking at we won today. We played better. Kids fought for us. Had great performances, and then on to the next game. And I'll look at the win total when the season's over, but not today.
I guess you talked about, getting Devin, more open shots, and that was a big reason for his success today. But it seemed like you guys were doing a little bit more to get him in position to get those shots. He was posting up on smaller players and getting really good looks doing things like that.
And I think that's a great point because, I think that's what his game is. He's not a standstill shooter. He's a driver. He's a run-out guy. He can play the point. He can post up. He has 3-point range. He's got a pull-up game. He can hit the floater. He can make a big steal for you. He can rebound. He can dunk in traffic. Very few guys have that complete of a skill set. And I think he's gotten away from that a little bit and just worried about his jump shot. And I just keep telling him, just be who you are. Play the game with reckless abandon. Be an attack player. Play with confidence. I'm sticking with you, not yanking you. Doesn't mean I'm not going to yell at him occasionally and get in his face. And when he made that one turnover, but he knows I trust him and I'm going to leave him out there.
He looked like he was playing with a little bit of patience too, where he was almost making sure the defender was
And you have to against this team. I think that's a good point, Scott. You have to against this team. You want to be aggressive, but you can't play nuts against this team, because you'll be charging and they'll be going the other way with it.
They have had 1 basket on the back cut now in 2 games. Is that a testimony to where your defense has come?
And I think that's one of the things when you look and say, we were in a position to win a couple of games. Our defense, we felt like if our defense was substantially better, we would be, maybe a little further along than we are. But that said, I think when you look at how our team has played, and you look at the quality of teams that we played and where we played them, and how many games, 4 and 7 or 5 and 6, whatever it was, I think it shows you how far we've come and the kind of team we have. That we're able to survive. If we had a terrible offensive shooting performance, which we've had a few, in years past, we would have lost 25-30. And here we are in overtime and battling and making enough shots to be in a position to win. Miss a couple free throws, unfortunate. But our team has shown a tremendous amount of resiliency and a tremendous amount of maturity, in my opinion.
One more question if you got it.
Thank you.